Hey traders, what's up? This is the watch list video for Thursday, July 1st, which reminds me to tell you that the market is closed Monday, so we got a 3-day weekend. Great time to study if you're on the fence about the course. 3-day weekends are always a good time to study while your friends are out drinking and you're home studying. It's actually kind of a good feeling. I've been there, right? Most of you know my story. The SPY today, another really narrow range on the day. I want to say for a lot of the day, the SPY was in like a $1.50 range or something. See, the low was 427.18 and 428.78. So what is that? A $1.60 range on the day. I mean, that's just stupid for a 420 something dollar basis, right? Anyway, if you didn't make it to chat today, you really did miss some nice ones. Let's go over those real quick. I got some highlights for you. ALF. I called it as a Tokyo, right on this candle. So just say somewhere around 1540. The early high was 1543, and it ended up going to pretty quickly to 1614. Then it had a pullback to the 5 buy zone and then a secondary push up nicely over 17. NEGG. I called a second mouse, believe it or not, right here. What it looked like this. I basically typed in chat, hey, does anyone like second mouse NEGG over 16? Which you can see, it was a really big move back here. Came back down, held the 20, right, the 520, curling back up. Got a whole number inflection point with the high of day above on a stock that had a crazy move about 30 minutes before that. So short's in trouble when you get back up over that whole number, and look what it did. I'm actually kind of proud of this too. In addition to that call, see this pullback right here? If I hover over this candle, you see the numbers right here. So when I hover over this candle, this pullback came down. Hold on, I'm doing this wrong. Oh, never mind. It ended up coming down lower. This candle came down to 1728. I got filled at 1729. It actually went up over 18 before kind of rolling over and then ripping again. So, but anyway, it was a nice little pullback fill for me, which anytime you have something that's really strong, especially later in the day, I love our pullback plays that we teach, right? So that was NEGG, VTNR. Wayne called a second mouse to 1350 when it looked like that. So there's the 1350 right there. The earlier high, 1388. So it's not just some random number. The 1350 is a half number inflection point. With the high of day 38 cents above on a morning gapper that shorts were winning all day, right? They get up here, and you're getting later in the day, shorts are in trouble. Look what happens. It breaks 1350, and within that same 5-minute candle, over 14, a pullback, and then a secondary push. So a nice call by Wayne. And then Kevin P. usually makes the highlight reel, and today is no exception. BLIN. Another one that gapped up and looked like it was rolling over, right? In the early high was 719. So it looks like it's rolling over. By the way, it did turn right around the half, mid-5s buy zone, but I wasn't looking at it there. Anyway, then it comes up and actually gets a volatility halt at 674. While it's halted, Kevin P says, let's see how this opens, but if it opens below 7, I like it through 7. Whole number inflection point, high of day above, 19 cents for another catalyst, right? Look what happens. It opens at 682 and then just rips, halts again, and then goes all the way to over 850. So Kevin's idea, if you grabbed it at 7, which you had plenty of time because he gave the idea while it was halted, went to 854 pretty quickly. So there are some highlights from the day. Those are the few that I wrote down. I had a really nice day myself. And let's get into what we're watching for tomorrow. Now, when if you didn't make it to chat today, I highly recommend. I know we got a lot of long-time members. I highly recommend trying to get in there if you have any free time because the teamwork's been unbelievable. Alpha, I already talked about my intraday call on it. It did close about where it opened, so you kind of have this weird-looking daily candle now. But it's such a recent high flyer, and it made such a nice move once it lit up the high of day ticker today. It did kind of roll over at the end of the day, but I'm a big fan of keeping recent high flyers on watch. I wouldn't mind seeing it come down mid buy zone tomorrow, and then really be my favorite watch going into Friday. So, but we'll see. We'll see if it gives an A+ intraday setup tomorrow, right? So Alpha's on watch. MRIN. Now, you guys know me. When I look at a chart like this, I say, wow, there's, I had massive volume yesterday, and then today a nasty gap down and a pretty weak day, right? Closing near the lows. So you should look at this and say, hey, there's a lot of longs that are bag holders now, right? And this is, of course, not day traders like me. I don't hold anything overnight. I always joke around. I won't even hold my wife overnight. But there's not that big a percentage, in my opinion, of traders are pure day traders like I am, right? I think a lot of people buy and hold stuff for several days. So, which is fine. Everybody's got a different style. I sleep better by just making my intraday money and going to cash. But okay, anyway, having said all that, so you do have a lot of bag holders, but then you look back and say, well, technically, this rally started from below 2. So it went from 2 to ish, right, to almost 19. And now it's just kind of in the middle of the 4-day range. So I do think it's worth watching for a bounce play tomorrow, but I'd like to see it come in another day or two. All right, so that's my synopsis. That's my summary on MRIN. NEGG, anytime as a day trader, anytime you have a stock that moves this far, you should obviously say, you know what, this is extended, it's way ahead of itself. But at the same time, hey, this thing made a massive move. I want to keep that on a chart for the next 2 weeks if I can. CPSH, a nice little volume spike today and a breakout of a range. We're just going to look for a continuation day tomorrow if we get an A+ setup. PBTS, big pop yesterday, quiet inside day today, but stayed in probably in the upper half of yesterday's range, so it's a good third-day play setup. IFBD, not as clean, as clean as PBTS, but still interesting. Big pop, quiet inside day on lower volume. We'll look for a third-day play there. AUUD, absolutely on fire. Then the gap up and the reversal, and then a gap down and another red day. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing one more red day, but this one definitely a good candidate for a turn back up tomorrow. AVXL had the gap up and actually ran to 31.50, but closed red that day. Then another red day. Then another red day right into that area that we're interested in between the 8 and the 20. Kind of close to a gap fill as well here. Definitely interesting for a turn back up tomorrow. HUSA is one of the small oil and gas plays. Did have nice volume today and closed fairly strong. So if oil rallies, this one could have a follow-through day. EH, I don't know that I would call this one in play, but there's a lot of shorts in the name, and the chart's starting to look handsome, right? You had this rally, then sideways, then it gapped up, but right back into the range. And now it's starting to curl up again. So I don't have any kind of entry price for it. I'm going to watch it tomorrow and see if it gives an A+ setup, but it certainly looks coiled for a possible short squeeze one of these days. MOXC, very, very strong today. Actually, I didn't put it on the highlight page, but I actually called this one through 19 right here. And, it did pretty well. It went to over 1950 before it came back, and retested the entry area, and then just ripped again, flagged and ripped again. So the daily certainly interesting. Had this huge move, then a few red days, and now next thing you know, it's curling right back up. Definitely one of the more interesting ones for me for the next couple days. Couple more. SAVA, again, not really in play. You had this big rip back here, and you kind of have this, 4-month cup and handle forming. And it certainly looks like an interesting chart to me. The most recent high, 92.50, sold off, but then curling up, and you kind of have this little mini cup and handle going. And then lastly, FUV, which tried to break out yesterday, and then today kind of put in a quiet inside day. So the reason it's interesting to me is today's high, 17.95, yesterday's high, 18.21. So we have a stacked catalyst scenario, right? And the whole number in there as well in that range. And EV plays have been pretty darn hot. So that's it. That's my watch list going into Thursday. We'll also add gappers in the morning. And again, let's just keep it going. The teamwork is unbelievable, and I absolutely love trading every day with you guys. But for now, I'm done babbling. See you guys tomorrow.